can you provide more detail regarding your 532K bull market target from your last video? Well, first of all, that was not a bull case. That is the stock to flow model value for the average Bitcoin price in the 2024 halving cycle. So in the 4 years after 2024. But basically what you do is you do a linear regression of the stock to flow ratio of Bitcoin monthly is what I did. So the stock to flow ratio to the price, and the parameters of that regression are the model. The function of that regression is the model. So if you plug in the stock to flow ratio of a after the 2024 halving, which is 110, then you'll get this 532K number. The function is 0.4 times the stock to flow ratio to the power 3. So that would be 0.4 times stock to flow ratio of 110 to the power 3 gives you the 532K.
Anonymous on-chain analyst Plan B is arguably the most famous on-chain Bitcoin analyst. He's behind the renowned stock-to-flow Bitcoin pricing model and rose to prominence for his spooky accurate Bitcoin price predictions. In his latest video, Plan B hosted an Ask Me Anything, in which he answered questions such as where he foresees the Bitcoin price going in the next cycle and if he believes we will see Bitcoin fall below $25,000 before the halving. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video where Plan B breaks down a scenario that sees the Bitcoin price reach $1 million in the next cycle. Also guys, if you want to stay most up to date on the crypto and Bitcoin world, make sure to subscribe to my daily 5-minute crypto newsletter. It gives the latest expert predictions, any breaking news, and top on-chain analysis all in a nutshell. Click the first link in the description to join over 30,000 others in becoming a better crypto investor right now. Now here's Plan B with his Bitcoin insights.
Bitcoin adoption, according to the S-curve, means that we're going from the early adopter phase to the early majority phase at some point. And Bitcoin price discovery could get very explosive. Do you see this happening in the upcoming years? And if yes, does it fit within the stock-to-flow model? Well, great question. And I did a lot of analysis on S-curves and adoption curves before I did stock-to-flow and time models. First of all, I don't think we're in early adoption phase right now. Early adoption is here. And I think we're in innovator phase yet. And the switch point is 3.5% adoption. So I think we're below 3.5% adoption and still in innovator space. And the jump from early adopters to early majority is 13.5%. So that's a long way to go still. But then to the second point, will price discovery get very explosive? And Arthur is referring to this vertical part of the adoption curve. I don't think price will ever get explosive because this is a very linear way of thinking about adoption and looking at the adoption curve. If you look at this S-curve, which is a logistic function, if you look at it from on a log scale or to the rate of change instead of the actual level of the S-curve. So if you look at it at a log scale, you'll see the rate of change is constant and exponential until this 50%, somewhere in the early majority phase, and then it levels off. So I think that we'll have exponential growth as exactly as we have seen in the last 10 plus year for the years to come, until we reach that 50% adoption point, after which it will level off. And yeah, 50% adoption, we're now at, let's say, 3.5 at the jump between innovators to early adapters. That will take at least a couple of years, maybe 1 or 2 halvings. And this, by the way, is also why I think that diminishing returns are not yet here. It looks like diminishing returns from the data, but I can't possibly imagine diminishing returns until 50% adoption. And until we reach 50% adoption, I think there will be exponential growth following the stock to flow curve, for example. What are your thoughts on a possible Bitcoin all-time high before the halving? So yeah, interesting question. The halving is in April 2024, so that's 4 months from now. A possible all-time high would be 69,000. That would be, well, now let's see, 42. So that's a 50+% increase in the next 4 months. Yeah, I think it's very well possible. In fact, if the ETF gets approved before the halving, and I think everybody's looking at January for that, if the ETF gets approved by January, then I think we'll have this all-time high in the pocket, and 69 would be a low estimate. I think we'll go straight to 100,000, which is a number that, for example, Adam Beck has already mentioned as well. So yeah, I think it's very well possible. Well, the answer is yes. I think the stock-to-flow model is still very valid. We undershot this cycle, as you know. Everybody, including me, was hoping for 100K. The average that the model gave was 55. We're below that. We're at 32 average, 32,000 Bitcoin right now. So we're below the model line. But then again, in the last cycles, or the cycles before that, we were above the line. In the bull market of 2017, we're above the model line. In the bull market of 2013, we were far above the stock-to-flow model line. Model wasn't broken then. It just reverted back to the mean, to the model line. And I think that will happen again. So yeah, I think we will break that 55K stock-to-flow model value maybe in the next 4 months before the halving, indeed, if the ETF is approved, or otherwise we'll focus on the stock-to-flow model value of 532K, $500,000, after April 2024 halving. And by the way, that's a average, right? Average for the whole halving cycle, so for the next 4 years. So yeah, fiat is collapsing, but it's not collapsing in a big bang. It will be gradual, it will be smooth, it might be exponential, but hey, that's what we saw in the price of Bitcoin last 10 years. It was an exponential growth. I think that will continue, as I said before, until around 50% adoption. Next question. Question from Metapunk. Can you provide more detail regarding your 532K bull market target from your last video? Well, first of all, that was not a bull case. That is the stock-to-flow model value for the average Bitcoin price in the 2024 halving cycle. So in the 4 years after 2024. But basically what you do is you do a linear regression of the stock-to-flow ratio of Bitcoin monthly, is what I did. So the stock-to-flow ratio to the price, and the parameters of that regression are the model. The function of that regression is the model. So if you plug in the stock-to-flow ratio of a after the 2024 halving, which is 110, then you'll get this 532K number. The function is 0.4 times the stock-to-flow ratio to the power 3. So that would be 0.4 times stock-to-flow ratio of 110 to the power 3 gives you the 532K. Is Bitcoin going sub 25K in the next 6 months before the bull market starts? I don't think so. I mean, it could happen if we see a black swan, something that we do not expect, like COVID. You know, last halving in 2020, we had the COVID crisis hit 2 months before, and that was a big black swan. We can have that, but I don't see one at the horizon at the moment. I don't think it will be there, and I think Bitcoin is perfectly on track for the next bull market without a prior crash to 25k levels. In fact, I have said it would surprise me if we would ever go below 35k again. Can Bitcoin reach 100 million per Bitcoin, asks Hardy. Well, I think it can in the next 4 years. So in the next halving cycle, the $1 million per Bitcoin is the upper boundary, the +1 standard deviation boundary of the stock to flow model. And normally the stock to flow model boundaries, the standard deviation boundaries, well, the price will hit the upper and the lower bound. So yeah, I would be not surprised if we see that. If it's undercut, if the model is undercut again, like in last cycle, we might hit the, if it would be similar, we might hit the 500,000 model line and then bounce between that and the 1 standard deviation zone, which would be 250-ish K. So yeah, it's possible. Correction before Christmas? Nah, I don't think so. We're now 2 weeks before Christmas. Wall Street is closed, right? Effectively, everybody is out for partying, skiing, etc. We'll pick it up in January. I don't see a correction before Christmas, honestly.
So there's on-chain analyst Plan B on Bitcoin's potential trajectory. His perspective on the Bitcoin market, especially the scenario where Bitcoin could hit the $1 million mark in the next cycle, is certainly something to think about as we navigate the ever-evolving world of cryptocurrency. Remember, the crypto market is dynamic and full of surprises, so staying informed is key. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to my daily 5-minute crypto newsletter. It's a quick and efficient way to stay ahead of the curve, offering expert predictions, breaking news, and top-notch on-chain analysis. Join over 30,000 others who are sharpening their crypto investment strategies daily. Anyway guys, hope today's video provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next one, and as always, all the best.